March 18th, next special called The Greatest Average American. I'm the most average American, but I'm the greatest at it. I always go to the nicest Applebee's. I have a good gauge of when shows are going to get canceled. If I'm like not on board, I'm like, then most of America's not.
With comedy, when you say your peak is like 40 to 60, is it just that much of a grind?
I always say you either make it at 20 or 40. No one makes it in the middle. Well, I would go up 10 times a week. And I did that for 8 years, 9 years. What you're addicted to, you have to be obsessed with it. My dad's a magician, and I grew up at least somewhere around him doing magic.
It's the worst you've bombed.
This private gig that I did, and I bombed for an hour, and this is a couple years ago. So who's the best comedians ever? It's like Chappelle, Rock, Eddie Murphy, Seinfeld. I mean, there's more of a Mount Rushmore of comedy than there ever could be one great.
Everybody, welcome to Bussin with the Boys, presented by Barstool Sports. Huge guest on today, Nate Bargatze. Am I saying that right? Bargatze?
Yeah.
He has a Netflix special on called The Tennessee Kid.
Yeah.
Hilarious, by the way.
Thank you, man.
Your story about, before we get into that, so Taylor calls me 30 minutes before we do this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, Taylor, my man Taylor, it's like you can throw a bouncy ball in an empty room. Yeah. And that's how my guy is. Like, you just, sometimes you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He calls me and he's like, hey, bro, like, I have bad news. I'm really sorry to tell you this. Like, I'm not going to be able to make the podcast today. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And he was like, I know you're really mad. And I was like, no, I'm solid, man. He's like, you're not? And I was like, I'm just, since this has happened a couple times, like, I'm just thinking to myself, like, I shouldn't react. We got a pod in 30 minutes. Like, I'll go and do it.
What's funny is I did a podcast a long time ago with my buddy, Giannis Pappas, who does his own now. And we started in 2000, I want to say 10 or something, or 9. So this is when podcasts were kind of new.
Yeah.
And like I would say, and we stopped it, but it's like, we almost like got in on Google and then sold the stock before it. Like,
right.
if we would have stayed with it 10 years ago,
like Joe,
yes,
doing it in his room with a webcam.
Yeah, it's like that. Then you're in it when no one was, not that many people were in it at the time. And but my buddy Giannis was. I'm not saying that Taylor's like that, but it's like super. Taylor's got a lot more going on than my friend Giannis had at the time.
Right, exactly.
But he would not show up a lot, and it was like, and I kept telling, I was like, dude, you got to do this. Like, I knew either don't do it or you got to do it consistently. Because it won't work.
Right. It just throws everything off.
It throws everything off. Like, you if you're just putting it out, but it's got to stay out on a schedule or no one's going to gravitate to it. Because you see, so many times you get asked to do a podcast and it's like, someone will be like, hey, will you do mine? You're like, you haven't done one in 6 months. Like, no. Yeah. Like, you're not even trying.
Right.
So why do I have to go do your podcast? And you're like, so you got to be super consistent with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it, dude. I had the same.
He was like, he's got to go see something that they're building. And his wife was like, Taylor was like, do you have anything else going on today? He's like, oh, I got to go do the pod at 2. And she's like, you got to go see the house. We have a meeting at 2:30.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, shit. Let me call Will.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's all good, man. Like, I'll get it figured out. Cause he's got a lot going on. I was thinking on the way over here, I'm like, man, Nate's coming over here. He's not going to get the 3-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
He's not going to get the $85 million man. He's going to get the great value version.
Yeah.
The several $100,000
version
man.
I wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more, we can talk about real things, He has a helicopter probably, who knows?
He's on a whole different planet, dude. Some of those guys who got just that fuck you money. Like, they don't need it. Like, when I was doing the pod, I was like, I just want you to show up because we're like best friends. That's my boy. And I was like, I'll handle everything else. I was like, if you can just show up when we do pods, like, obviously we've kind of bounced everywhere and sometimes we'll backlog them days in a row. But I'm like, if you just show up, I'll handle the rest. So we kind of have like that understanding that it can get a little fickle or something can change at the last minute. But
well, it's like, as long as you stay consistent with it to like when he did, like, eventually retires, it's like, then it's like, then we get more, you can be more serious, or it can be more of a focus.
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, but to have, one that's with both of you. I mean, it's great. Like, and it's like, you know, you deal with all this stuff now, then eventually
I know
you'll be here.
Yeah, eventually everything will calm down for us, and maybe who knows what this thing could be by then. But we have a lot of fun with it, and the consistency thing that you spoke on too was like, we were going to do it in the summer. The first summer we were going to do it, we were just going to do it in the summer up until the season. And I was like, all right, then we're just going to focus on football. And I got on a phone call with Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, if you're going to do a podcast, he's like, it's all about consistency. Mm-hmm. He's like, it doesn't matter how many pods you do and want to drop in the summertime, like that's cool. He's like, but if you say you do it once a week, like if you can take all those episodes and try to survive the year and drop one every week, if you can just do it consistently, like consistency is the key. It doesn't matter if you do one episode or 3 a week or whatever it is. He's like, if you're just consistent, like it's like getting the, you know, keeping the audience in tune. Like you're like, why would I go do a pod if you haven't done one in 6 months?
Yeah, you would. I mean, that's, you know, because you get asked to do a lot, and which I'm sure you do too. And you get where some of them, because this is the key to, I mean, everything. Like, you know, I mean, you know, playing football, doing comedy. Like it's all consistency, and that's what weeds people out of anything
for sure.
More than because overall, a lot of people are talented, and but consistently showing up and putting in the work is the most important thing.
Yeah, it pays dividends because, like you said, like everyone's got the ideas. Everybody comes up with everything that's going on out there. It's the ones that are like
no one's really original.
Consistently doing
the
right,
like
right.
There's always someone else that's like you out there,
right?
That can do it. And
you hear like your story, and you hear your Olivia story where you're sitting there and you're shirtless or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like I'll just change the girl's name and put a different dynamic environment around it, and I'll have the same joke.
Yeah.
But no one's really original. But
yeah, it's funny. It's like there's it is like they're original, but like there is, you know, you're like someone will take your place.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And not bat an eye, and no one will miss you. There's an idea with like I always think of it like in comedy, and I'm sure in football where you got to be somewhat grateful for what you have and to put the work into it because you know, it's like we're not owed this. Like, you know, we're getting to, you know, a guy that is a construction worker, like works for the city, like you feel like he's owed stuff.
Right.
We're not owed any of this.
Right.
Like, and so you have to constantly just like show up and do all the stuff because it can all go away.
And the moment the window's small.
Yep.
That is true because once you're done, it's like, you know, no one's going to give a shit about what you did. Like people remember certain things about you, but that next guy who replaces you, everybody's going to be like, you know, they're taking my place out on the field, and no one's going to remember like any plays that were made back whenever I played. But
that's with y'all with football is that because you have to start. When do you have to start thinking about that? Like, because you
thinking about what retirement?
Like 30, because you're done so young. Like for me as a comedian, I'm 41, so I am kind of hitting a decent stride right now. But that's not till I turn 40. Like you're always kind of going forward. But our really peak for most comedians is 40 to 60 is when a lot of guys end up being really good. But for football, I mean, you're.
The average career is 3 years, 3.5 years. I mean, like my first thought when came in the league, being undrafted is like, all right, if I can be on a practice squad for 1 full year and get like $100,000, like, you know, then that's what I need. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm going towards, since that was my first goal. And then it was like, you know, you want to make the team, and then you start making the team, you start playing, you realize you got a couple years in the tank. And then I probably really started thinking about it honestly when I started doing this, putting this vision together, was in 2018 when I played on the Titans. I was a backup special teams guy, and I was kind of thinking this could be like, I'm getting closer to 30. This could potentially be my last year. Because I'm not playing. Like if somebody signs me the next year, I'm going to be a 1 year minimum guy. Like I'm going to kind of be the journeyman style guy. So it's like whatever I'm doing or interested in, I need to start putting it on paper and then executing it, because, you know, when you're retired, when you're playing in the league, I literally said this yesterday, your jokes are funnier, you're better looking, you can shake more hands, you can do all of it because, you know, you play in the NFL right now. The moment you're on the other side of it and you're a retired NFL player and you're trying to do something, this is me saying it, I'm not saying this is what it is, but it seems like you're reaching to do some more things out of desperation. Like you need to do something and pivot. And people kind of look at it differently. Like, okay, he's trying to get into this now because football's over. So that was my whole mindset. So I started thinking about it when I was probably, what was that, 27? 27. And then I got to go to Oakland. I play well in Oakland. I bought another year, got to come here. And it's just kind of like snowballed a little bit in my benefit for me. But I was thinking about it at like 27, like, or 28, however old I was. I was like, man, this thing could be coming to an end because football, NFL, not for long.
Yeah. Because that's with sports, when you guys play sports your whole life and at such the high level is, it's just so young. I always think, look at tennis. Tennis is, unless you're Roger Federer, like kind of these freaks, their peak is like 20 or 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
You're not even an adult. That's so young.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're basically done.
Right.
Like a lot of them are 18, 19, they're done. And that's where they play at the highest level.
Yeah. That's when it fizzles out. With comedy, when you say your peak is like 40 to 60, is it just that much of a grind on consistency and being just showing up over and over and over, just jokes, like writing new like all of it. You're just grinding to make it to basically 40.
I say that I always say you either make it at 20 or 40. And so no one makes it in the middle.
Yeah.
And so you either come out of the gate and you get grabbed up quick and you become super famous early, or you got to go through all the ropes. And so you got to do everything. So a lot of guys you can see where you had your Bill Burr, Louis C.K., Chappelle blew up early. Kevin Hart was probably, he wasn't like super young, but then you see guys come up where they blow up super quick. And it's better to do better later. Like if you look at Bill Burr is a good example for me, just because I was in New York when he was there and I got to watch him very up close. Mm-hmm. And he was like a 10-year comic. No one knew who he was, but I could see that he's like, oh, this guy's the real deal. Mm-hmm. He's amazing. And so like seeing him, he went through all of it. He's done, there was nothing that kind of shot him up where he took a big leap.
Right.
It was he got everything when he was supposed to get those things. So he had to go do Letterman. He had to go do a half-hour special on HBO, then an hour special. And then now he is who he is. And to me, think the best comics usually end up outside of Eddie Murphy, who to me he's got to be probably, he's like a phenom to do the act that he did. He was like 21 or something.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
because that's like an adult act. That is a 30-year comedian act that he was doing at 21. So that's pretty special. But the other guys, you see, and they become better comics, I think, because they just have more experiences and they have to. You have to earn everything. You have to go be around and get everything. So I think you appreciate it more and you don't take any of it for granted. And then so your act, you just put more work into it. You just have more time to put into it.
Yeah, it seems like it all kind of comes together too, because like you're saying, like you got to go through it all basically. You have more of an appreciation. And like by the time you get there, you have so many more stories from that experience to dig out compared to like if you were like, a superstar young. Like you're kind of a superstar. It's not like you're more so just telling stories of celebrity.
You don't even have a life. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Your life. You're making all that money. I could see it with football. I could see it with athletes where if a guy comes up first, if he's number one pick and then just off and running versus your experience, it's gonna be much different. And you're gonna know, you're gonna understand like, no, this is how it goes, and you appreciate it more. Than someone that could be, that just came in and was like, yeah, it was easy. Like, I didn't ever deal with any of this stuff.
Right. Yeah. Taylor and I talk all the time because, I was on like practice squad. I had to do rookie mini camp twice. So I'm like, I always feel like I have an appreciation just because like there's been so many like of those little gritty stories that you just don't forget about. And you see like young guys going through it now and you just kind of like, give them a little bit of advice on like, hey, here's how it can work. But yeah, bro, it was a bit of a journey. I say now I wouldn't change it for the world because you got to go through it all. It makes it that much better of a story.
That much better.
But at the time, I know the first year when I was in training camp and you're at the bottom of the depth chart and stuff, and you're like talking to your parents and stuff, and you're just like, man, I don't care if I only play 1 year. Like this is such a business. It's just kind of fickle. Like, and that's just me talking. Like I wasn't getting the opportunities that I felt like I wanted to be at. I was wanting to get. So it's just my bitterness kind of talking. But that first year, you're just going through like, man, this is shitty. Like I don't care if I play anymore. Blah blah blah. And then obviously tables turn a little bit more, and you start to
you get the bitterness out of you. Like because everybody has it. You got to have some. I even think you have to have a little bitterness. You have to go through that to then realize like, well, this isn't. I shouldn't be. This is no good. Like because some people live in that bitterness and they can't get out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
And then it's over for them. I saw plenty of comics that were just so bitter and they never really make it past anything because they get so caught up in it. And so you're so like comparing yourself to someone else, or you want that something that they have. Yeah. And instead of trying to go get it, and maybe you don't get it on their timetable, you got to get it on your own timetable. You basically just give up trying to get it.
Right.
And then you don't, and then you never get it. Where, you know, the hardest part for comedy, I think, is when you don't go blow up super quick, is watching everybody pass you. And then like, you're just around everybody and they're shooting past you and they're going to this crazy level. And then you're kind of feel like you're just slow. And you're like staying there. And it's very hard to not, just to kind of be like, all right, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I think I can get to that level. It's not going to be at the time that I want, but I'll get there eventually. And so you just kind of stay your pace and just.
Right. We get like wondering eyes because it's hard to like just focus on what you're doing. Because everybody always says a cliche, control what you can control. And yeah, that is a cliche, but that's like the reality, what you have to do. Yeah. And people can get hung up on the business side of everything, because everything in life is business. Yeah. And people can be, yeah, you know, I didn't do this because the business side of it, or I got fucked over. I got screwed. Yeah. You know, I didn't get to do this or that, or I didn't get my opportunity like they did. I was doing the same thing but yeah, people get hung up on it, and that's, you know, those are the people that kind of fizzle out.
Oh yeah. You can't chase money either. Like the money can come, but you can't really chase it. Like if your whole goal is to get, is such a direct, like I want to get this money. Yeah. Like it's not going to be good. You gotta, cause you won't want to, whatever you're doing, you're not doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it.
And you'll just be up and down riding that roller coaster.
Yeah, you're chasing, you know, it's gonna come and go, and like, so you got to just sit and build like a steadiness. Burrs said to me a long time ago that I always liked the advice, where he was like, your path, you know, he's talking about me. He saw me do comedy when I was like, this is 10, 15 years ago, but he goes,
how old are you now?
41.
41. Okay.
Or 10. This is probably 12 years ago. Like. And then, because I've been doing comedy for 18 years, but he's like, your path is going to take longer, but you're going to gain fans and you're going to gain them for life. And I really like that, because it was like, yeah, your path does take longer, but every fan you get, it's not like you earn them. Like they find you, you know, you're not just put it in someone's face. Last night I was just talking about it with Little Nas, like that song, you know, whatever his song is. Yeah. Right? The most famous song. Everybody in the world knows
Love
this
how
song.
both of us were just, he's like, Little Nas, that song. He's probably thinking I'm going to say, I'm like, I don't know it either. Yeah.
Dude. No, it's what is it? Old Town Road.
Okay, yeah, Old Town Road.
I'm saying this like, but obviously, you know the song, you've heard of the song. Yeah. But like, what, that guy can't probably go sell out arenas. He probably doesn't even have a full show that you could go watch. Yeah. He has that song. And it was a huge song. But that song is almost forced onto everybody on earth. Right. You're just going to hear it because it's the hit new thing. Versus you got someone like a Chris Stapleton. That's like more of like, that guy has earned everything. And people, the respect for what he does is much more. It's, you know, because he's sat there and he's earned it. And he's kind of come up. Not that I know his whole path. But he kind of came up to that. And so those guys truly earned their right. Darius Rucker. I mean, Darius Rucker went from Hootie Blowfish to then now he's a country singer. Like that guy's been through it all. He's slowly just kept going.
Yeah, no doubt. Would you say it sounds like you've always been curious and picking mentors, people you've probably seen on your levels, people that are farther along than you, and you've always kind of picked their brain or just got advice, or advice has just stuck with you to where you're kind of on your own journey with it, thinking like, okay. Because you've alluded to the example of you seeing people pass you by. Like, what were some of those times where you're sitting there and you're either feeling down about your journey, or some of those hard adversity moments that kind of made you into what you are now?
Well, I've always thought like you need to have someone right above you that you can talk to. I always thought you needed someone right above you and someone below you, like wherever you're at in your career. And because the person you can't. When you first start, if I'm like trying to go get advice from Chris Rock, like I can't. I'm an open micer. No one knows. You know, I've been doing comedy for 2 years. Nothing he can tell me I could relate to. He's too far ahead. So you need, if you're a 2-year comic, I need to talk to like a 3-year comic and like be like, where are you at? Like, how do I get to that? Because that's more of an attainable goal. I never try to have too many, like the goals, I don't ever want them to be, like you saying you want $100,000 practice squad. Like that was your goal. You're like, that's attainable. Yeah. I can get it. And then once you get it, then you can go to the next, whatever the next plan is. But I don't think you should put goals because your goals can be too high that they're unreachable at the time. You know, if I'm sitting here 5-year comic going like, I'm trying to sell out Madison Square Garden, you're like, all right, dude, like you know how long it's going to take to get to that point. And it would become unattainable. And so then there's never a win. You don't give yourself a win. At the beginning, I just wanted little, like I used to bark where I used to hand out flyers outside comedy clubs. So you'd be in New York City, and you'd be like, hey, we got a great comedy show, and I'm just trying to give all these flyers out to all these people. Damn. And you get them to come into the show, and it's brutal. And it's 20 degrees outside. No one wants these flyers. No one's excited you're handing. Like, no one's happy about it.
Yeah, any flyer you go up and see, you're just like,
dude, they would drop them in front of your face. They would grab the flyer and then drop it and look at you as the flyer hit. And then you got to pick
it. Just a long fall.
Long fall. Then you got to pick it up. And you're like, all right. And I got to pick it back up and try to give it to someone else. It's wet now because of the snow. And you would just see that. But I remember just thinking, I don't want to do this. How do I get good enough to not have to stand on this corner? And it was like, that was the first goal, was just don't stand on this corner. And then you slowly just, then you get off the corner and you don't have to stand there. And now you're like working the door at a comedy club. And then you're like, well, I don't want to work the door. I just want to be going to be able to do a spot. And so you just slowly have these little like kind of goals. And so I would always try to like talk to the person that was right above me. Who could I learn from that's right above me that I can try to get where they're at? And then you slowly go up and then you pass those people. And then you find, then there's another person that you're like, well, they're doing late night sets like Tonight Show or Conan. So you're, hey, how do you get, like, what do you got to do? What's the process with the Conan? And you don't ever ask for something either. Like, it's never like, hey, can you get me on Conan? Right. It's how do you get on Conan? Because that's another, like, too many people, I would get asked all the time and they'd be like, hey, how do can you get me on Conan? Like, you're like, what are you, crazy?
Yeah,
like,
well, like I'm just going to hit him up. Yeah, hey, you can go in tomorrow.
Yeah, he's good, dude. Yeah. He said cool.
Yeah.
But so it's like you just have those little goals and you talk to those people. And then as it goes, it continues to grow and you continue. And then you have someone below you that I feel like it's good for you to give advice. Because then you get to remind yourself as you say it that like, hey, I need this person to be like, here's what you need to do. You know, I'm still learning. But like you're hearing it again and you're helping someone that's younger than you. And like, and so then there's a good, I don't know, there's a good group of people that are kind of rooting for each other and helping each other out.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of give yourself some accountability too, like when you're teaching somebody below you, because you're preaching something that you've learned and you're hoping they put it into action, but then you're also making yourself accountable to continue to show up to prove that, hey, this is the discipline that I'm trying to teach you.
You don't want to see that person pass you.
Right.
And so then you're trying to stay ahead of them. And like, you know, because there's a competitiveness to it. Comedy's different than sports are pretty, I'm sure there's a lot of politics, but in general, it's a pretty cut and dry. Like you're either fast or is this guy or not, or you can do this or that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then comedy is very, you know, like I always say, like there's not really a Mount Rushmore. I mean, there's more of a Mount Rushmore of comedy than there ever could be one great comedian.
Right.
You're going to list, because everybody likes different things.
Right, because like subjective.
Yeah, so you just want to be, you know, at the end, you would love to be in the group of when people say, who's the best comedians ever? It's like Chappelle, Rock, Eddie Murphy, Seinfeld, you know, Ron Regan, like, or something. Like, you just want to be among, like, in the list.
Right.
Of the, you know, of who's the best.
Yeah. How'd you know you wanted to get into comedy? Like, it seems like what made you want to get into comedy? And then how in the hell did you get up in New York and you're passing out flyers when you're a Tennessee boy?
From here. Where are you from?
I'm from Missouri.
Okay.
I'm from like 4.5 hours away, like an hour south of St. Louis. It's called Bonne Terre. Shout out BT. A little small spot, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
So my dad's a magician. So I grew up, at least somewhere around him doing magic. And he would always do shows. And he always had day jobs too, but he still does magic. He's very good at what he does.
Yo, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That does magic?
Yeah, it's, you just grow, it's just like was normal. Like,
yeah.
It was like.
Your friends come over and they're like, hey, Mr. Bargatze, can you do these tricks? And you're like, all right, here we fucking go. All right, go ahead, Dad.
He would do my birthdays because it was free, you know? Like, it was like, so they didn't want to pay for entertainment. Yeah. He's like, I'll do it.
And tax write-off for your birthday.
And I mean, as a kid that like is just around magic all the time. Like magic is just ruined. I always say I can't do magic. I can ruin it for you because it's just ruined. You just see. I saw him practice all these tricks. You
just know how it works.
You know how it works. I can't. It's a lot of practice, but you know how it works. And then just the mystique of magic is kind of taken away from you because you're like, I know it's just a trick. It's like it's like I saw it. I've seen so much magic.
People are probably trying to like show you magic to see if you can figure out what they're even doing.
Oh, I mean, one time we went to some thing, and the magician came up to me like he was doing walk around, and he came up to me being like, "Hey, you mind me show you a trick?" And you're like, "Dude, I'm just not the guy."
Like you have no
could
fucking
pick anybody else. Yeah. I just do not care. Like I gotta act like I'm gonna be amazed. It seems like a very funny thing to not be amazed, but it's like, pick your card. You're like, I don't. Yeah. My whole life, my card's been picked. Dude. Like it's been, I've always seen every card picked. So it's, but my birthday, I remember one birthday, he's doing a magic show. And if you could see, and I just didn't want to watch the show. Like I'd rather him just not do it, but all the other kids love it.
Yeah.
So your friends are like, yeah, this is great. And I remember I was just sitting on, went and was on a swing by myself as they watched the magic show. Because I always think if you could see that from a distance, you would just be like, why don't they let that kid come to the magic show, not knowing that it's my birthday?
Yeah.
And I'm just now alone on a swinging alone. But he was like, I was around. He was a clown when I was a kid. When I was like 5, he started doing that. And he went to Trevecca, which is here in Nashville. And so I was 5 years old, and our kindergarten class, he would come. And that one I loved because I was 5 years old, and my dad's a clown. You're like the coolest kid, in school. So you would get to come see that. But you're just around. I mean, I've had jokes about it where I talked about, my first memory is meeting the Easter Bunny. My first memory of life is my dad pulls up in our car. He's dressed, he's in clown makeup. And the Easter Bunny's in the passenger seat.
He's in clown makeup.
Clown makeup, driving the car, and the Easter Bunny's in the passenger seat. And they were doing a show at a mall, and the Easter Bunny needed a ride home. He wasn't crushing it, I guess. And he goes, "Yeah, I'll take you home, but do you mind like just seeing my kid first?" And so my dad pulled in, and so I got to meet the Easter Bunny. It's my first memory of my life.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I remember he did. He dressed as Batman one year for, I want to say at Opryland. So there used to be a theme park here in Nashville, and he would work it. And he had a full Batman costume because he was Batman at this theme park was his gig. And so he came home in that. So there was a lot of kind of crazy things where, I mean, he comes home in a real legit Batman suit.
With the voice, was he trying to do the voice and all?
This was pre-voice.
Okay.
So it wasn't, it was before that all got taken on. Batman talked normal. Like the Adam West
I don't
Batman.
know that. I don't know that Batman.
Yeah, he was like me. He's like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" And you're like, all right. Everybody thought they could take that Batman. You're like, "I could fight this Batman." Like it wasn't until his voice got real deep that you're like, "Oh, this guy's the real deal." All right.
I would have been one of his friends at the birthday party. Like, "Hey, Nate, man, it was an 8 of spades. That was the card." Like
you're just cursing at 8. Like you're like, "Oh, Will." Like, just get him out. You're like. We talked about that. My buddies from New York. Cursing is, you see kids, because I think we're in the South. I don't know if you remember growing up, kids cursing. Like you just didn't hear it as much.
I heard it some. I heard it some.
Maybe football. I guess it's different.
Yeah, coaches. 8 years old.
Yeah, you know what I did? My first
youth football
cursing I did hear, and it was always football coaches.
Yeah,
I played very briefly because I was too little. Because I remember playing, and they had the double stripes, so you had to weigh, if you weighed too much, you had to play the line. Yeah. And you'd have to wear a double stripe on your helmet. So they'd make them run with trash bags on them to lose weight so they could be like the running back. So it's like an adult 12-year-old.
It's like wrestling. Yeah. They're wearing all the stuff.
They're wearing all the stuff. So it's like an adult kid. And I just remember these kids were so big, man. And then the coaches, you do that. What's the drill where you stand in the middle and then everybody's around you? And
Bull in the ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would do that. I would always pretend my helmet broke during it. I would be like, my thing. I'd be yanking
with it the whole time.
Dude, I would yank stuff out of it. Like, God, dude, can you believe this again today? Again today. This came out. All right, I guess I'll go fix. Because I was like, I'm not. These are grown men hitting. We're like 11. That kid he's trying to lose 40 pounds to not play the line. You're like, I shouldn't be here.
Dude, the shit that you do back in youth football, that's obviously, it's banned now. You can't do that stuff now. But man, we would play duck, duck, goose. So everybody be sitting in a circle and you go around like duck, duck, duck. And then goose hit the helmet. You take off around the circle. They get up and run around the other circle. And all you do is hit.
Yeah.
No one's got the ball. Like, you just collide as hard as you can.
It's going to be.
And coaches would want kids to quit. And I would be like one of the guys. They'd be like, hey, Will, I'm going to put you in this drill with him. Like, try to get him to quit. Like, we don't need him on our team. I swear to God, dude. I'm not joking.
I mean, you're 9 years old.
But what'd you say?
And you're like 9?
Yeah.
Like, you just like imagine telling 9. My daughter's 8. I can't imagine telling her, hey, I want this kid to quit, so I need you to murder this kid.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that that's how it used to. I mean, it's just, now they're playing flag football.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's, which is
you gotta play like flag, and then you gotta play like, I want to say you gotta go through like phases now of like learning how to tackle, right? Maybe I have no clue, and obviously how.
Oh yeah. Well, like it's football. Like it's always like trying to figure out where these concussions come from, and you're like, I mean, I have a good idea where they come from. It's like, it's all these millions of dollars of study. You're like, I mean, people are hitting each other with their head. I bet that has a lot to do with it. We just study after study.
Yeah, like hitting hard.
Yeah.
Because I want to say, like, one of those studies too, like when all the concussion stuff came out, the movie and everything, it was still like another study that came out that like, 90-something% of the NFL players had like CTE, like the brains they got to work on. And it was still like 90-something% of like lower 90% of like high school players that got their brain examined on, figured out that they had some sort of CTE. So it's like, seems like it's just,
get it.
Yeah, you're just going to get it if you like, you just like run into stuff.
You're like, you're going to get CTE. Like that's, it's a game with your head.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it.
We got to take a moment and shout out paintyourlife.com. No free shout outs, Paint Your Life. It's this awesome, seamless portrait. You send in a photo, anything. As you guys have heard me talk about it before, I got this beautiful portrait of my dog, Waffle. Shout out Waffle. All the free shout outs to the beautiful little puppy. But paintyourlife.com, you get a professional hand-painted portrait created from any photo at a truly affordable price, a very user-friendly platform that lets you order a custom-made hand-painted portrait in less than 5 minutes. Send any picture of yourself, your children, family, a special place, a cherished pet, shout out Waffle again, or combine photos into one painting. I thought it was going to be super expensive. You go on the site, it's quick and easy. You get your portrait back in under 3 weeks, and it is extremely cheap. The boys got your back. You go to paintyourlife.com. There's no risk. If you don't love the final painting, your money is refunded, guaranteed. And right now, as a limited time offer from the boys, get 20% off your painting. That's right, 20% off and free shipping. To get the special offer, text the word BOYS to 64,000. That's BOYS to 64000. Again, BOYS to 64,000. Paint your life. Celebrate the moments that matter the most. Terms apply. Available at paintyourlife.com/terms. Is football one of your, like, being a Vandy guy, I assume you're a baseball guy.
Well, I grew up, I mean, we kind of have to be. So football, we were just talking about, because I was just at Vandy and walking on their field. And so I grew, so growing up, before the Titans came, we didn't have, all we had was Vandy. And so people either grew up a Tennessee Vol fan or Vanderbilt fan. So I grew up a Vanderbilt fan. And then, so I'm a diehard Vandy fan. And watching games there, I saw some of the most amazing stuff, Vandy football, in a bad way. We always would just, we were just talking about it today. I showed them, I remember we were playing Georgia, like this is like 95, 96, 7, something like that. And we're playing Georgia. Georgia's like 7th in the country. We're winning 7-0 in the fourth quarter. And so and we're not ranked. And
I thought you were going to say the first quarter. We're winning 7-0 in the first quarter.
We know those, yeah. But some of those were like, all right, we got them on the ropes.
Yeah.
But I remember we ran a fake punt on our own 30-yard line. And we ran it not to like the fullback, to the punter. They gave him the ball. And then he ran, got tackled immediately. I mean, and then Georgia scored very quickly, and then they just won. I've seen this also. We played LSU one year. and we score with 10 seconds left, 7-6. We're going to go for 2. Woody Woodenhofer was the coach. And we're going to go for 2. LSU's ranked. And so we're like, we're going to go for it because it doesn't matter. This would be big for us. We get 2 delay game penalties and then and then get the extra point blocked, and we lose 7-6. And I mean, that's just like
the extra point block, dude.
And we're kicking from the 50. I mean, like, I didn't even make it's like, I don't know. And we're just sitting there as a fan, and you're like, what happened? I mean, you know how much time you not only the first delay game is whatever, but you used all of that time. And then it takes time for the ref to throw the flag, call it. And then you still have another, 25, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
And you still, and then the next day in the paper, this is back when you had to read the paper to see what they're going to say. And they said, you're like, what were they going to do? And they go, we were going to run the same play, which is the worst thing to hear. It wasn't like they were, you're like, what were you going to do? Like, what were you about to draw something up crazy? They're like, nah, we were going to do the same thing. I was like, what were y'all talking about over there? You know, like, is that?
Go to the bathroom or something like that.
Yeah.
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 Oh, dude. It's, so it's been, but I'm excited about Vanderbilt now. We have we got a new coach, Clark Lee, and I'm pretty pumped about him. And he's putting a pretty interesting staff together. And so hopefully, and it seems like Vandy is investing in their sports, which is
that's always the biggest thing is like getting the athletic department, or not the athletic department, but the school to invest in like the athletic department, and invest in sports because like me, so the 5 years I was at Nebraska, I played at Nebraska. My strength staff that was there that I know very well is a strength staff at Vandy.
Yeah.
So the past few years, I trained at Vandy all the time. So I was just around, just the culture of Vanderbilt and just how different it was from being in Nebraska. Like kids would have to the strength coach Dobson, shout out Dobson. He would, I'm like, yo, why isn't that dude getting in trouble for, not showing up on time? Because I'm thinking about all the shit we had to do when we were late or anything. And he's like, bro, it's different here because kids are coming from class. Like academics here is just a whole different ball game. Like, at Nebraska, you would have, your advisors and counselors and stuff like that help you pick your classes. Like you wouldn't have to be present to pick your classes. Like they would already pick them for you. Like kids at Vandy would have to leave in the middle of like workouts because there's a window that they have to be at to get in when the window opens to get in certain classes. And the athletes themselves have to be there to do that. And he's like, and during finals weeks, like guys actually lose a shit ton of weight because people are stressed and they're just up all the time studying for finals because it's such an academically successful school.
Yeah.
Way different from Nebraska. No, I'm not knocking Nebraska, but it's just
it's way different than basically everywhere.
Yeah, like, it's different than everywhere, bro. He's like, the criteria to get in, like trying to get walk-ons in and just recruiting, like it's just a different ball game.
Did you grow up a Nebraska fan?
No, I was more of like a Notre Dame fan. I went to Nebraska because of Bo Pelini and the staff that he had in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Tom Osborne had came to the school. Everyone was going crazy about Tom Osborne. I didn't necessarily know exactly who he was because I was younger, but I'm having like all my old teachers. They're like running down the hall to like try to get a picture with him. But he visited, and then like I visited with the staff and stuff, and absolutely loved the facilities at Nebraska, and that's why I ended up going to Nebraska. But that was a strength staff I had, and it's just a way different world than like a world at Vanderbilt football. Yeah.
I remember Nebraska was always it was crazy because I mean when they were so good
in the 90s.
It was, and that's the kind of my first awareness. 90s would have been like you kind of start paying attention to sports more and kind of remember stuff more. And so my first memory of Nebraska, to me, Nebraska's always look at them as the most dominant team in the country, they were back then. And it is crazy to see kids because you look at Vanderbilt. There's kids Vanderbilt, when Franklin was there, we won 9 games and we went to bowls every year.
Right.
The baseball team started getting good, and Tennessee the Volunteers were down. So there's a lot of kids, like my friends' kids, that grew up kind of thinking Vanderbilt was the better school. Versus when I grew up, it was like we would get crushed. Like Tennessee would beat us 65-0.
Yeah, you had Manning back there. Them in the 90s were just always there with Nebraska in Miami.
Yes, yeah. Ohio State's always been there, but Nebraska, like Miami, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And so it's just it's interesting to see the perspectives that people go through with the Volunteers, who I'm not a fan of, but they were so dominant, dude.
It's in there being in the SEC too. Like we haven't got anybody on here yet that has admitted to it. But you know them them good ones. They're paying kids. You know what I'm saying? Vandy ain't competing with that. There ain't no funds coming out of Vandy.
He's not paying anybody.
There ain't no funds coming out of Vandy.
I wish they would. I'll be honest with you, that'd be a huge help.
We had Derek on yesterday, and I was trying to get him. I'm like, we need some sanctions against Alabama right now. Like, how much did they pay you coming out of high school?
Yeah.
Because anytime you see an Alabama player, we were talking in our locker rooms and stuff, and anywhere you go and there's an Alabama player, the question to them is usually like, how many natties did you win when you were at Alabama? And some guys will be at 2 and be like, oh, you were part of the trash Alabama.
Yeah.
Like the other Alabama guys who won like 4.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of sitting there like, we went to a Big 10 championship and a Big 12 championship. We lost both, but.
Yeah. We got the Motor City Bowl. That's what our Vandy is just like, we almost won the Motor City Bowl. We had the first bowl game I went to was at Vandy. We played Boston College in the Music City Bowl. And I've told a joke about that. Because I had tickets from Vandy, and I went in and she ripped my tickets, and I had to go in the game. I mean, a full 2 to 3 hours before the game starts. Because like once they rip your ticket, you have to go in. And I was just trying to grab my ticket, then we're gonna go tailgate, and I had to go in. Dude, no one was even. The players were still in jeans. Like they were not even. You weren't even getting ready for the game. Like that's how early it was. And I remember the clock was at 90 minutes and it wasn't even started yet. So you're just looking at that. And I mean, I was the only one in the stadium. I just walked around the stadium. It's not even open. And my friends are like out tailgating. Like, where are you at? I'm like, I'm already in here. Like I'm here.
It's great in here. It's fucking awesome
great,
here,
dude. I just walked around. The concession stands are not open. I mean, it was brutal. But Vandy won that. But our punter was the MVP. First 2 bowl games we had in 20 years, our punter was the MVP of both those games.
How's the punter the MVP?
Just because we do, man. That's what we bring to the table. Like you don't understand. We need a good punter, and it matters. It's like Brett Kearns. Like a punter really helps out a lot.
Dude, he's a stud, man.
Yeah,
Brett is a stud punter. Yeah, I mean, punters definitely help out. I'm just thinking, like, if they couldn't score, like, what? How's the punter the MVP? Were they just dropping them inside the 5 like that?
Just keeping them back, keeping them
hand
at
the trophy to the punter. You guys won 3-0.
Yeah. No one else really brought enough to the table that they go, I guess punter did pretty good.
You never answered, but how did you end up getting to New York?
Oh, so I moved to Chicago first. So I was just doing whatever job. I read water meters in Mount Juliet here. Like I just worked I didn't go to college. So I just was doing whatever job. I had a friend, my buddy Michael, and he wanted to move. He wanted to go to Second City in Chicago. So I moved to Chicago first. And then I did some Second City, which is the Improv. And that's where like Chris Farley and all them came out of. I just did a little bit of that, nothing at all. And I didn't really like improv. I wanted to do stand-up. So I started doing stand-up there. And then I moved to New York after like 2 years. There's a great documentary from Seinfeld called Comedian. I believe it's on Netflix. And it's him building his new act. This was right after his show ended. And he taped his special. And he was talking about starting over and he had to build a new hour. And he went around to different comedy clubs in New York. And so that came out when I was in Chicago. And then so after that, I was like, you got to go to New York. New York is like the place to be.
Now, at the time, are you working on your own like comedy stuff, like on the side of while you're working?
No, you're just doing, you're doing open mics. So I'll go to a bar, like anybody could go and sign up and you go up on stage. And so you're there with, when you first start, you're there with guys that are really trying to be a comedian. You're there with like just a mom that wants to do it. People that lost bet. There's a big thing now. People that lose fantasy drafts will go to open mics. So like their punishment would be if you come in last place, you got to do stand up.
Yeah.
So you have a mix of just like it's just a joke to one person and another kid is like this is his dream.
Yeah.
And so they're all going up on the same stage. But so you just start out doing that. So you're just doing you need to get up. You're trying to go up every day. And then when I moved to New York is when I went to there's a club in New York called Boston Comedy Club, and I started there. And that's where I was handing out those flyers. And you would go on stage. I went on stage every day for, 8 years. Like you just go up every day. And you go on for, at the beginning, it's 5 minutes. And then eventually it gets to 15 until you start headlining and traveling on the road and you start doing an hour. But at the beginning of that, Chappelle would come in all the time. This is when Chappelle's show was on, right when he quit. right before that, he would come down. I would see him he'd come down every night, like after he taped, and we'd have 8 people in the show. Like that's the thing that makes you good in New York is, if you go to Zany's here in Nashville or any club usually there's 40 people there at the minimum, usually even 100, 200, 300 if it's sold out.
Mm-hmm.
So the shows are very good. It's people that are not as good can do good just because people are happy to be in the room and they're like, yeah, this guy's up there telling jokes and it's a fun situation. But in New York, you would go up and you'd have people in the shows that you would have to talk into coming and it'd be free. So you'd be like, just come check this show out. And then they're like, all right. And they come in there and you're in front of people that don't speak English sometimes. I mean, I went on stage one night and most of the crowd doesn't speak English. And they want to go to the show just because they want a New York comedy experience.
Right.
But you're like, don't come, dude. Like, they don't. You go up, you start telling your jokes, and you're like, what is wrong with this? You're just getting no laughs. And you're just like, does anybody speak English? And I mean, nobody. They're like, no. Like, nobody even understands that.
Have you asked that on the mic?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you're like, who doesn't really speak English? And like, everybody just, the whole room claps. You're like, oh boy, this is going to be brutal.
Yeah.
And you got to do 15 minutes. So, but being in those situations are what helps you because you know how to, how to talk where it's uncomfortable, dude. Like,
dude, I'm sitting here like, that I can't imagine every day. Say you string on a few bad days or a few days where you're just not that, people aren't laughing like they're laughing at the other people, and you just got to continue to.
Oh,
in the room.
We were. I remember being on stage because, like, you would just be at a bar. So it's a lot of times some would be comedy clubs, so people actually know what they're doing. Sometimes at a bar, you would go into the bar and like downstairs, like we got a comedy show down there in the bar, and you're like, oh, okay. And then people just they were like going to the bar, and now they're sitting in a comedy show. And I performed for one guy once. Just him. He didn't leave. And I asked him to leave in the microphone. I go, we shouldn't do this. And he was like, it's fine. I was like, it's not fine. And then
I got to stay up here if it's fine.
2 people, 4 people. 4 people, a lot, 4 people in a room. And that was like, you would do it to keep the show going because people are outside. Other comics are outside trying to get more people in. So you're trying to get more people in. So you're like, someone's got to go up so we don't lose these 4 people. Because once these 4 people, if they start looking around realizing, these comics probably stink, dude. Like, if no one's here, this show can't be good.
Yeah.
So you're trying to trap them basically in the room before they figure out that, they shouldn't be there. This is not a good situation.
Yeah.
And so you would go up and you talk in front of 4 people and then 2 more people come in and 6 people, 8 people. I mean, if you got in front of 8 people, you're like, I made it, dude. Like, this is 8 people was like unbelievable.
I'm doing comedy in New York.
You're like, can someone film this? Like, I need to this is huge, dude. But being in those situations where that's why I think the best comics come out of New York. The ones that learn how to be a comic in New York are the best by far to me because they're just in. It's much more of a grind. It's way more competitive. Everybody's competing for all the spots. Not everybody can get on stage. And you just have to be better than a lot of people. And you have to perform in a lot of bad situations. I mean, I remember one place is called Village Lantern in the Village in New York. And so I'm on stage and there's just 2 couples that are together. So 2 guys, 2 girls. And they're sitting in the front, no one else in the room. And I'm on stage and I got to keep talking to keep them there until we can get some more people in so it feels like a show.
Yeah.
And then the girl just gets up. The 2 girls get up and just stand next to me and they just take a picture. Like I'm on stage. You're
on stage performing. You're doing your thing.
And they just got up as if I was just a sign. Like, and took it. It's the least respect I've ever been shown in my life. To go just in the middle of a joke, they just stand there. Like, that's how they go, well, this is not a real thing. And they just took a picture and then I think went to the bathroom and then left. That was it. Like, it didn't even phase. Like,
you just imagine nowadays too, like somebody just takes a selfie and you're just kind of looking.
It's got to be like part of a scavenger hunt or something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, on stage. Yeah. I mean, because there's no bouncers. No one's stopping any of this stuff. I mean, you could have fights break out. Like I had a fight break out when I was in Tampa once in the back. All I see, because this was when I was at a point where it was right before my Tennessee Kid special came out. So I was having people show up for me. I would say it'd be 75% of the crowd is there because they know who I am, but 25% is there just because they got free tickets to a comedy club.
Yeah.
So those don't really mix good together because these other people are excited to see you and they want to watch the show, and the other people could care less. I'm going to a bar. Oh, there's a guy on stage, whatever.
Yeah.
And so they would get in a fight. I remember I was on stage and all I see in the back, I just see a hand just go like that. And then just a brawl breaks out in the very back of the room.
How'd you handle it? Like when you're on stage?
And I was in the middle of it, dude. I was like, so you have to do an hour? I'm like 30 minutes in. You know, if I'm at 40, 45 even, you're like, all right, good night. Like I got to keep going.
Yeah.
And so and not everybody could see what's going on. So I just kind of, described what was happening. I was like, that guy hit that guy. Yeah. And then you just talk about, it's one of those, you're just in the situation. There's no really preparation for it. The preparation is all the years of doing bad shows.
Yeah.
That you just know that you can handle it. And I told every other crowd that week, I was like, if you just don't fight, you will be better than the Thursday night crowd. If that's all, you could do a lot.
Yeah.
You could yell out. You could actually throw something at me. If you don't fight each other, you're going to be better than that Thursday night crowd.
That's hilarious.
Fist fought each other.
What was your first time on stage like?
It was I did this class called Comedy College. I have it on VHS, my first time. I had a chin beard.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was when chin beards were a lot cooler than they are now. You had to get made fun of if someone saw it, but now it would be, back then it was like pretty like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's new money over here. So that's right. Will like white trash, like Nashville white, like just come out of where you live, Antioch. So there, I went on stage, and usually your first times are actually okay because you get friends go. So like if you went and did stand up right now, you would have friends come. They're going to be rooting for you. They want you to do good. Yeah. So they're going to laugh at your jokes more. They know you. So usually your first time is kind of okay, and then you're like, all right, maybe I'm not bad at this. But it's when you go up with no one there, no one supporting you. That's the real like.
Were you're probably more nervous for that than you were when you were going to be in front of your friends?
The first time I used to always look down. So I had a big problem with that. I would never really look up at the crowd. And I still don't like looking at the audience in the eyes. Yeah. I just look like right above their head. It makes it's uncomfortable. Like when you lock eyes with someone on stage, dude, it's like, you just feel like, do they know that I'm looking at and you're just like, and I remember comics used to always come off stage and be like, dude, you see that chick in the front row? She was unbelievable. And I would be like, I didn't see anybody. Like, cause I just wasn't looking. I never understood like all these comics they're like, you see, dude, these two on the right, they're the hottest chicks I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, I didn't even know where were these people at. Like, I didn't look at nobody. But so when you first go, I would always look down a lot, never really look up. And then, so you have to then like kind of teach yourself to like, I got to look up. I got to be looking at people. And, cause that really matters. And, so you slowly just build up, but the first time it's tough, man. I mean, that's the first, I remember I would want, cause I knew I was like, well, I got to go. I don't want to go to do this show because I was so scared to go talk in front of everybody. And and I remember thinking, I was like, God, if just the building would burn down. Because then I could say, I would be like, I tried to go, but the building was on fire.
The helmet,
and I
it just keeps messing up.
Yeah, it's like, I want to get in there, dude. Like, trust me, dude, I want to. You guys look like you're having so much fun. Like, God, I just got a bad helmet. My parents bought me a helmet with the worst, because my parents had no money. And so I got like the 1 bar down and 1 bar across helmet.
Oh,
that doesn't help either. When you just look like a loser. Like you just got like a old fullback helmet. I weigh 84 pounds. The helmet's half. All I wanted was like that one. I still look at that helmet and just think that's all I wanted. I would have probably stayed with football.
You probably would have gotten Bull in the Ring if you would have had a.
If I would have just given me a good, one was too expensive, so they bought me the worst one. So I don't remember what you're talking about, but
I think it was you were talking about your first time, like how nervous you were, and you hope the building was burnt down.
Yeah, that is, you ever think about that? Like I was, if you were tired driving to work, Like I used to have to go to work when I worked regular jobs at like 7 a.m. And I'm like, if I could just get in just a little wreck, like not much of a wreck, just enough that I can sleep in the car.
Just a fender bender.
Just a fender bender that I can sleep in the car, and I gotta be like, I got in a wreck this morning, dude. Like it's just so I can have a good excuse. You just want something to happen. I remember that a lot. Like just being like, I don't want to go. Yeah.
What's the worst you've bombed?
One of them I talk about in this new special coming up, but
another one that's going to come out on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh,
when does this come out?
This is going to come out in a couple weeks.
Yeah. After Valentine's Day, after this.
When's your special come out?
March 18th.
We can make it the week after that.
Okay.
Unless you want it to come before.
All it's got to be, if they're listen, I'm not announcing my special until February 16th. So after February 16th, it can come out whenever.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're solid.
Yeah. So that's when I got to announce it. But March 18th is the next special called The Greatest Average American, because that's what I think I am.
I love that, dude.
I think I'm the greatest. I'm the most average American, but I'm the greatest at it. I always go to the nicest Applebee's. I have a good gauge.
Hey, I mess with Nate, dude. I mess with you.
I have a good gauge of when shows are going to get canceled, because I can, if I'm like not on board, I'm like, then most of America's not.
Yeah.
I have very American taste. Yeah. Like you can just feel it. You're like, it's not going good, dude. Like you gotta wrap it up. But this special I talk about, I did a show for this private gig that I did, and I bombed for an hour, and this is a couple years ago. So like I'm
for an entire hour,
the whole hour. And I'm like successful comedian. Like at the time I'm like, dude, I'm not bad. Like, yeah. And I remember just being up there and I was like, I guess maybe I'm bad now, like maybe you just lose it like that. And I told the guy afterwards, like, I'm sorry. And then he told me that most everybody there did not speak English. So it was a Christmas party, and all his employees they don't speak English. And he never told me that till afterwards.
Oh,
and I mean,
I bet that entire hour you're just like,
dude, it's tough.
Maybe I'm past my prime.
Oh, you think about
maybe the prime's not 40. Maybe I'm just going down.
Yeah, my peak. My peak was the day before, and I'm already down. It was. I mean, for 1 hour of just, you're thinking about a lot up there, and you're just your material. You get through your material a lot quicker. But one of the first bombings that I remember feeling, I bombed at that Boston Comedy Club. Everybody was doing good one night. Everybody was like going on stage. And I remember this one comic went up, and I didn't think they were that good, and they did good. And I was like, well, dude, I'm going to murder when I go on.
Yeah.
And then I went up and bombed so hard. And I remember I changed my shirt. I never wore that shirt again, because I thought, well, that shirt had something to do. I think I had a button down, and I think I tucked it in. I like tucking my shirt in. I'm a big fan. I wish it would come back and be more popular than it is. But I remember I had this green button-down shirt, and I got rid of it. And I was like, I'm never wearing that again, because I bet that had to do something. I didn't blame me. I blamed just the outfit.
What goes through your mind like when you bomb something like that? Like, is this something you kind of like lose sleep over? You're just kind of like, fuck.
You don't do it as much as everybody says you do. There are people that do bomb that much. But I think those people they never do good, so they don't know what good sounds like. Because I've seen people bomb where when they got off stage, I went to go talk. I was like, hey man, this crowd kind of stinks tonight. Sometimes it's the crowd. The crowd stinks, like it's rowdy or they're talking. So that one you don't really care about, because you're like, this is not my fault. But I've seen people come off and like I'll be about to say to them, yo, don't worry, but this crowd stinks. And I remember this kid, he goes, that was a pretty good set. And I was like, that was the worst set. And
so just no awareness.
I realized at that moment, he doesn't know what it sounds like to do good. Like up there, it's different when you really murder on stage. It's unbelievable, man. It's people are losing their mind. You can hear people catching their breath. It's the most amazing sound ever. And if you don't ever hear that, then you don't know. Like to him, that sounded great, what he just got from him. It was like a good set. And that was a learning moment that I remember. Oh, you need to learn what it sounds like to be good.
Yeah.
So you're self-aware enough to then know when it's not going good.
Have you ever had to correct a comic? Like, was that somebody you He's like, what'd you think? And you're like, yeah, you're straight, man.
No, I didn't. No, you lied to him. Well,
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, dude, that was great. Like, I thought it was great. And they're like, no, I've had a couple where I've seen this one club in Edmonton, Canada. And this guy, I think he does it on purpose, but he would put a new comic up he put a new comic on stage in front of like a packed crowd on a weekend. And this girl went up and she bombed so hard. I mean, nothing, 0 laughs. So it's someone talking to a microphone for 5 minutes and there's no reaction, but there's pauses for reaction. So she like finishes a joke like, I went on the bus. And then, all right. And then, it's just that, dude, for 5 minutes. It's unreal. And she gets off. And when she gets off, he plays Another One Bites the Dust is the song he plays. And I mean, I'm like, this poor girl. And they stay. They have to kind of stay for the show. So they just go sit. And then she sat at the table and cried. And I went and talked to her. And I just made fun of the situation to try to lighten the mood. And just be like, it doesn't matter. You're going to go up so many more times that you won't ever forget it. But that one some of those are tough to see. I had another girl that I once did a set in Philadelphia. Very nice girl. And it was my fault. It was sold out room Saturday night. The 2 comics on, my host and the middle act, they both murder. And this girl just did a guest set. So she's going to do like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And she goes up and same thing, dude, completely silent. And the whole time. And then the guy goes on after her and just murders. So you can't even be like, well, this crowd's tough. You're like, this crowd is amazing. Like, and then I remember she came back and she felt pretty bad. And then she actually had to go sit. She had a ticket to the show and then had to go sit out in the crowd. And I was like, you wanted to be like, just go home, like don't. And can you imagine just having to walk back into that crowd and being like, excuse me, my seat's over here. And everybody's like, oh, that's that. All right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How would you say the Nashville scene's different than all the other comedy scenes? Because you mentioned quite a bit.
Yeah, Nashville scene is much better than it was when I first saw it. There's actually some really, really good comics here and some young comics that are very funny and to me show that they want to do it. They seem obsessed with it and they want to go up as much as they can. And there's a lot of really, really good comics and some female comics, like, good diverse comics. And so the Nashville scene is great right now. And so it's exciting to see that. And the New York scene still the New York scene. I still think that's the best scene in the country. And that's, there's going to be guys that you see in New York that are better than most famous comics, because they're going up every night. They're doing it. It's like dog years in New York. I mean, I went up every night. If you live in Nashville, like you could go up. I mean, you can go up more now than you used to. But I mean, let's say you're going up 3 times a week. Well, I would go up 10 times a week. And I did that for 8 years, 9 years. Like, I got way more stage time, way more than anywhere in the country. So that's why those comics are going to be the best comics. They've gone up triple what you've gone up.
Man, that grind is interesting, dude. Like, all those years just going up 10 times a week, working on sets, like having to surpass hanging out or like going on different weekend trips or anything like that. You're just thinking about the grind. Like you're just thinking about how can I get more in?
Oh yeah. I mean, you just you're addicted to it. You have to be obsessed with it. That's what you can't do it if you're not. I remember people would have night jobs. They have jobs that, they're like, I got to work at night. And I'm like, what do you do? You can't work at night. That's when you got to go up and try to, even if you're not getting up, you got to go hang out at the comedy club and be around. And you need to see all these comics. You need to see people get good. You need to see, I was with Aziz Ansari and Amy Schumer. And so we were all open micers and I saw them rise to how big they are. You need to be able to see that stuff. You got to see people get to the top and that, so you can at least see that there's a path. Because otherwise it feels impossible. It feels like, well, who am I? I'm just a kid from Nashville. Like,
right.
Why would I get to do this?
Yeah. You feel like it's beneficial that guys like Theo Vaughn and Josh Wolf have moved to Nashville? Like, is that going to changed the scene a little bit? Because I guess where I'm coming from, you see like the Comedy Store. Like I follow those guys like Joe Rogan and all that.
Yeah.
That circle of comedians where they're always doing sets at the Comedy Store. It seems like all those dudes go to the Comedy Store. You feel like that kind of creates a culture for Nashville to where maybe you guys are going to Zanies? Or how does that kind of work in the comedy world?
I mean, definitely. It's been a huge help now that Theo and them are here. Because I've been back here like 6 years. Steve Byrne, another comic. So a lot of real headliners.
Yeah.
And I think it helps the scene because then the younger comics actually get to see like real headlining comics every week, and guys that are very good, guys that are going to go up and they're not really going to bomb. They're just not. Like they've been doing comedy too long. And so it helps the scene, the new comics see that, and it makes people want to come out. We do shows at Zane's where they do new material night on Mondays, and sometimes they do these all-star shows. And they're not announced with the lineup, but if we are in town, I went Monday. I went last night. What was that? Whatever night, Monday night. I went Monday night. You go work out on my, because I got to build a new material with the special coming out. I'm trying to build this new hour, and so I've been there a lot. Theo's there a lot. Like, you know, sometimes we're there, sometimes we're not. But them going that, it gets, then those younger comics are getting in front of a packed crowd. I mean, you know. That's a huge thing to get. Real stage time is what you're searching for.
Yeah,
it what helps build a scene. You got to get in front of a real audience because otherwise you're performing in front of other comics at open mics.
Is there a couple like up and comers that you think will be on the scene one day? That
I mean, so I have a podcast called Nate Land, and that's with my Brian Bates and Aaron Weber. And they're Brian Bates has kind of been in New York for a little while now. I'm in Nashville. He's been doing it for like 12 years or something. And then Aaron would be a newer one. He's on Aaron Weber. He's been 4-year comic. I think he is. Dusty Slay, who's been doing it a little bit longer, probably 10 years, but his name's out starting to get around a little bit more. And, he's done some late night shows and stuff like that. And he's very funny. I mean, he's probably the top comic of the guys that are, he's kind of really starting to headline and people are coming to see him. And then you got, I mean, the guys, there's some younger guys that are even 2-year comics that are you see at Zanies that are very, very good. And and you can go see them. You know, that Monday night, that new material night is a night where you can see all those or Zany all.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We should go to one of those.
Yeah, y'all should come to one. They're when I'm at one, I'll let you know, and then y'all come out there. It's fun.
That'd be awesome.
It's a good. It's good to see. I mean, I think people are moving here to start comedy. That's a good sign.
Nashville's growing. I mean, it's one of the cities that are like growing faster than.
I think we can be a Chicago here. Like, I mean, I'm very biased to Nashville, obviously, but I don't think anything's better than Nashville right now.
All right, you already know the importance of your skin. Shout out Roman. No free shout outs. Whether you're worried about dullness, redness, ugliness, fine lines, or acne, trying to find the right treatment can be frustrating. Now, there's a simpler, smarter solution to skincare. That's where the boys at Roman come in. Meet Rory, a digital health clinic for women. Wait. I was thinking Rory's a person. Meet Rory, which is a digital... What the fuck is this? Hey, keep this on. A digital health clinic for women. Rory is the sister brand of Roman. There we go. Oh, we're shouting out Rory, not Roman. Yeah. Shout out Rory. No free shout outs. Not Roman, but also Roman. We like you too. Like Roman, they make it simple to connect with a doctor online and see if personalized prescription skincare treatment is right for you. All from the comfort of your own home. No more waiting for appointments or in line at the pharmacy. Go on your phone or computer right now. Complete a free online consultation and you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. And if appropriate, they'll prescribe you a personalized skincare treatment plan that works for you and only you and your skin. With Rory, you don't even have to go to the pharmacy. Your custom skincare is delivered right to you with free 2-day shipping. You can also follow up with your doctor anytime if you need to make a change to your treatment or have any questions. They're with you every step of the way on your skincare journey. With Rory, there are no commitments and you can cancel anytime. So it's risk-free. Go to hellorory.com/bussin to try out a 3-month supply of nightly defense for just $5. It's free to chat with the doctor and your first order is just $5. That's hellorory.com/bussin. Hello, RORY.com/bussin. Eligibility requirements and additional terms may apply.
And,
Yeah.
I think it's the best city in the
love
country.
it. How do you like doing Nateland?
It's good.
Because that's newer, right?
Yeah, we
I see you
started
got like
it 'cause
30 something episodes out.
Yeah, not a lot. And, you got to do these forever if we really get good.
Yeah.
And so it's we started it just because it was like, I've been off the road for a year now.
Right, with all the with all the COVID stuff.
I kind of wanted to stay being funny. And, that's kind of a muscle. You got to be funny. You need to actively try to be making jokes. And another reason why I think New York is so good, you're around comics so much that you're just so much like just breaking each other's balls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of keep that going. And so then we started this podcast, and it's been fun. It's, it's a good thing to keep your brain like, just making jokes, dude. That's just making jokes is so important. And so just constantly kind of coming up with stuff and keeping your brain fresh, and it helps you with coming up with your new act. So
yeah,
I've enjoyed it. I do it in my house, so it's like, I made it about as easy as possible.
It's out on like all the podcast platforms, YouTube. I saw it's on YouTube.
Yeah, all that stuff. So
that stuff's interesting. And you said you did a podcast a long time ago, but that stopped.
Yeah, that went nowhere, dude. It could be better. That's what we called it, because we always thought it could have been better. Like it was.
Yeah,
we called it what we thought everybody would tell us in the comments. That way they couldn't criticize us. Because if they were like, your podcast stinks, you're like, well, it's named, it could be better. We are agreeing that it's not good. And just go ahead. Get it right in front of it.
Yeah.
That one was a long time ago. But it was, it was fun to do. I wish we would have stayed with it at the time. But, it all works out in the end.
Yours will probably grow and be awesome one day.
Yeah, who knows?
It's awesome now. All of ours are awesome now, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you got to keep.
There's more work into the whole video side.
Y'all got a unique thing here with, because you would
dude,
your scenario.
Yeah,
you're in this bus. This is, it looks like it's what you see.
Yeah, busting with the boy. We're in a shed.
Yeah,
just a random shed. We run off a generator in a hot spot that the bill has not been paid, so it does not work.
Yeah,
but
just some little stuff to work on.
Yeah, where we started off, this bus was in a parking lot because it doesn't move.
Yeah.
We can't get it fixed. Costs way too much. We might as well just buy an actual like big awesome bus.
Yeah,
but it started off in a parking lot. Taylor and I were going back and forth on how to go about the podcast. It was something I wanted to do for a long time, and a buddy of ours at the time who was producing it, he was like, would you think you'd be interested in this bus that's out back? I was like, a bus? I was like, honestly, no. But I bet when Taylor walks in here and he sees it, he's going to want the bus.
Yeah.
He comes in, he shows him, and Taylor's like, oh, yeah, we got to go see that. And we go out there and, it's obviously doesn't look like this. It's all the seats and stuff moved around. Like you had to take it to a priest and get an exercise. You know what I mean? And Taylor's like, listen, I'll put 10 grand into it and clear it all up and make it look presentable. If it doesn't work, then I'll just sit it in my backyard. Like, I think this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's try it. And we were just sitting out. We got it to work. Managed to put all this stuff in there. We're just sitting on the heat. Bloss was with us back then. And dude, we'd be out in July. When McAfee was like, consistency is the key. We were in July at the time. We had a few weeks until training camp. We're like, oh, we got to backlog a lot of episodes if we're going to survive through the season. Yeah. There was 1 week we did 12 episodes in 1 week, and it is like in the 90s. Yeah. We had to have we had to try and put coverings over and stuff because we were just in here sweating. Like Schaub came on. He came down to do Zanies one night, and I had asked if he wanted to come on. Michael Chandler helped me get him on. And Schaub comes on, and one of our AC units wasn't working. We have like 2 AC units in here, and his boys are on the back, and he's like, yeah, I think we're going to need to wrap it up. Like one of his brother was about to like pass out on the back of the bus because they were all like sitting in the back listening, and we were just grinding through it, bro. But now we finally upgraded. We got into a shed, an abandoned shed. But, but it's been a journey, man. But thanks for coming on, bro.
Absolutely, man.
When is your special coming out?
March 18th. Netflix. So.
And it's cool we put this out before March 18th, right?
Just after February 16th is the only thing that it's going to be.
Yeah, everybody check it out. What's it called?
The Greatest Average American.
I can't wait, dude. It'll be on Netflix and all that fun stuff. On
Netflix and just on Netflix. So just just on not all that stuff.
Yeah.
Anywhere you can watch Netflix, it will be on Netflix. So
awesome, man. Well, thank you very much. Presented by Barstool Sports. Nate Bargatze, Bussin with the Boys.